Welcome to Newsome MMA in association with MMA Play 365. I'm your host, Jon Prentice, and today I have the pleasure of being joined once again by Cage Warriors Middleweight standout George Smith. Now, after a fantastic 2019 in which George went 4-0, culminating in his Cage Warriors debut back in October, it was recently announced that he'll be returning to the promotion on March 7th as he takes on Lukasz Marcinkowski at Cage Warriors 112 in Manchester. George, thank you for joining me once again. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I'm buzzing for this fight, so yeah, everything's good.
Excellent. Now, we spoke after your last fight. I mentioned back in October, win against Junaid Ebanks. You said after that fight that you were looking to enjoy a bit of time off. Have you managed to do that? I know I've seen on your social media that you spent some time away, and you look like you've had an enjoyable Christmas time. What have you been up to since we last spoke?
Yeah, I had a couple of trips away. I went to Spain, and then I went to Italy for New Year. But I've been since my last fight, I've been non-stop really in the gym, other than those two little breaks. So I'm feeling another level athlete to what I was, back in October.
Excellent. Now, we spoke before about you wanting to get onto the Cage Warriors Manchester card in March. I think they just announced it when we spoke previously, and you've got your wish. You're on that card. When did you get the news that you'd be fighting up in Manchester?
Well, you know what it is, I was just kind of, I was thinking I'm not going to get on this, and I was just dying to get on that card, so I know how big it's going to be. And I can't remember. It was a few weeks ago. I got something through from Matt, and yeah, I was just buzzing. Sign the fight, and I was dying to. I was just dying to get on that show.
Absolutely. Now we are just over a month out from the event now. How are preparations going for you? I imagine you're in the midst of training camp. How's everything going?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's I feel great. Yeah, it's everything. It's obviously tough. It's a tough time now. Like the weekends go really quick. I sparred yesterday, but then obviously you have just one day of rest, and then you're back on 2 sessions a day, or sometimes 3, and then you just it's just like I said, the weekends are getting shorter and shorter.
Time's getting less and less available for you.
Yeah, it's the my body's just it feels it, when I get to Saturday evening. Like I've learned from the past that I need that one day rest, because my body starts falling apart. I was trying to do 7 days a week and stuff, so it's just silly. But now, just having that one short day, it's not enough.
Now, you say that you're obviously working really hard in the gym, doing the 6 days, and you have the rest day. I mean, do you get much time outside of training to watch events? Obviously, we've had some big events this month. We had the Conor McGregor, Donald Cerrone card a couple of weeks ago. Do you get much chance outside of training to watch mixed martial arts events around the world, or is it kind of come Saturday night, like you just say, you're exhausted from the week and you just need to get your head down and get that recovery in?
I mean, I do watch a lot of fights, and I don't tend to watch them live, because I'm probably not going to be awake at Las Vegas time. But yeah, I try and catch up. I usually go through themes, because I get obsessed with a certain fighter that I'm trying to replicate something or learn something from, and I just kind of take it to extremes. Like, I think that's the way my mind works. It's always in extremes. I got obsessed with something, so I'm always on a different fighter, 1 week to another. So yeah, I do watch a lot of MMA.
Is that a big part of your training regime? I mean, is that something that you speak about with the coaches? Like, this is the guy that I like their style. I like the way they do this, they do that, and let's just study the tape and watch how they do it, and try and replicate that in the gym, and then obviously in the matchups when they come around.
I think no, not necessarily. We just kind of like my coach, Matt, he's a proper like martial arts geek, and I think most of the guys in the gym kind of, well, a lot of them, the guys who you just taught martial arts with, and that's kind of what we're about, just kind of improving your general game, and obviously there are specifics, but just kind of generally improving your fundamentals all year round, and I don't think you can go far wrong if you're constantly improving. And you got to say today as well, like if you watch MMA now to 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, you just go through the times. It evolves so much. You literally can't sleep on it. You've got to be on it all the time.
Absolutely. Now, moving back to your fight next month, you're taking on a tough opponent in Marcinkowski, an identical professional record at 4-1. All of his 4 wins have come via finishes. What do you know about your opponent, and what do you think of the matchup between the two of you?
I don't know too much in terms of what level he's fought at and all that stuff. Obviously, I've seen his record when I got sent the opponent and stuff, and I know he's like a come forward striker, throws a lot of hands, but when you don't know what level he's been fighting at, it's hard to compare and it's hard to take much from the tape, to be honest. So, but I'm going to be ready for whatever he brings. That's for certain.
Absolutely. Now, how do you see the fight playing out between the two of you? Do you anticipate getting that finish? I mean, he, like I say, he's a known finisher from what we've seen of him so far. How do you see it playing out between the two of you?
I'm always going for the finish, and I feel like my game's improving all the time, and I feel like I can, dominate opponents, especially at this level. I feel like I can make it. It can be one side, and I can get the finish. But yeah, like I said, I'm just going to be prepared for any outcome. Standing in the clinch on the ground, I don't feel out my depth anywhere now. So yeah, like I said, bring it on. Whatever he's got, bring it on.
Excellent. Just how much does it mean to you to be on this Manchester card? Because obviously we spoke about it before. You're going to have a lot of support there, teammates fighting on the card. It's an absolutely stacked card as well from top to bottom. It must be great for you to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, I was literally begging to be on the card. Obviously, I had a lot of opportunities to do different things or go different ways, but I was just like, I just want to get on this. My teammate Jack's fighting on the main event.
Yep.
I believe Andor's on there. Kyron, Big Tom on the amateur card. Adam Proctor from SBG South Shield. So it's a big night for SBG, and I just wanted a piece of it, to be honest. So the amount of interest I've had for people wanting tickets and stuff, it kind of goes to show this is the one to be on.
Absolutely. Now, how good is it for the city of Manchester as well? This Cage Warriors card coming back there, because I mean, they love their fighting up there. We saw that when Michael Bisping was in the UFC and they bought the pay-per-view event over there that sold out in a matter of minutes. Must be great for the city in general, just to be able, and the fight fans in the city, just to be able to get such an excellent card in their own back garden.
Yeah, I think it's massive. The obviously we've had quite a lot of success in recent years with the boxing. You had Bisping, and I believe there's a matchroom boxing card on the same night as what the Cage Warriors is. So it's like I said, the city is buzzing for fighters at the minute, and not just in our gym as well. Like there's lots of MMA fighters now, doing well. You got Brendan in, is it PFL?
PFL, yeah.
Got obviously Kane's doing well. Sol's in Bellator, and just loads of fighters now doing well in the city, which is good to see. And I think it's only going to get better, because you see this. I think on the night Cage Warriors, you'll see like the next batch of guys now, and if we all, take the opportunities that are in front of us, I think you could see some good from the city coming again.
Absolutely. Now, if you get past Marcinkowski, what are your plans next? Do you have any call-outs in mind? Have you got any idea how often you want to fight this year? I know you said before you want to be quite active this year. Is that still the plan for you?
Yeah, stay active. And no specific call-outs. So just literally any European middleweight, whoever it is. It just doesn't bother me now. I've got this fight in mind. It's a good opportunity in front of a home crowd, and I think the people will be asking for certain opponents for me, going forward. So I don't think I'll have to do it too much myself. People want to see the fights. And yeah, hopefully keep getting some shows in Manchester. But yeah, anywhere where there's a fight, I'll be there.
Absolutely. Now, going back to being active this year and staying active, how important do you think it is to stay active at the earlier stages of your career? Or do you think it's important to, even when you're relatively new to the professional ranks, do you think it's important just to pick the right fights at the right time?
I mean, I haven't ever picked a fight or anything like that, so I don't. But I think Cage Warriors signing me long term. I feel like they'll be putting testing fights in front of me, and they obviously want to see challenging fights on their card for their fighters. So I mean, it's not in my hands really anymore. Whoever's in front of me, I'm going to do a job, and this one in Manchester is the first one. Just got to make a statement. But like going back to being active, I think it is. I think all martial artists should want to be active. I'm used to competing as a judo athlete, and it was every month or every few weeks. So yeah, I'm up for being active. It's just how many fights, how many times you can make weight, how many fights you can. If you get any damage, you just got to it's play it by. But yeah, I won't turn down the fight.
Absolutely. Now, once again, recently we've seen a flurry of movement between Cage Warriors competitors making the switch over to the UFC. Jai Herbert was the most recent guy to get a call up. I mean, firstly, how much does that give you a boost as an athlete in the Cage Warriors promotion, seeing the amount of movement between their fighters moving up to the top tier of mixed martial arts in the UFC? And secondly, how soon are you hoping that you're going to be in a similar position to these guys, where people are asking the question, when is George Smith going to get the call up?
Yeah, no, the Cage Warriors are so confident in what they are, which I quite like it. They know that there's big money elsewhere. They kind of know that, but they know what they offer, and they offer good fights, and they offer the route to the UFC. They're very confident, and I do like that. So it's good on Cage Warriors, and yeah, like I said, Jai's done very well. He deserves his shot. And yeah, my time will be my time. Like I've got no time specifically, but just get to keep winning fights, get that Cage Warriors belt, and it's gonna happen, isn't it? So like Cage Warriors have proven it. You get to the top of it, there's going to be opportunities there for you to push on.
Absolutely, I have no doubt that we'll be seeing your name soon all over social media. People asking, when are you going to be the next to get that call up? I've no doubt about it.
People just when people get talking about you and that type of stuff, I don't necessarily like talking too much myself. So if people are asking for me to get the title shot or get to the UFC, or that's a positive for me. It means that my fights are speaking more than my words, so that's good.
Absolutely. Now, finally, before I let you go, I just have to ask, do you have any final messages for your opponent, your fans, your sponsors? Handing it over to you. The floor is now yours.
Yeah, if you want to come down and support us on the 7th of March in Manchester, message me for tickets, or any fighters that are on that card, support them. I'm sure it's going to be a massive night, and I think, speaking to Cage Warriors earlier in the week, they're saying tickets are flying, so it's going to be a good atmosphere in there. And yeah, just keep, like I say, thanks for interviewing me, and everyone keep supporting me on social media. George Smith MMA, and yeah, shout out to Bodrell at Northern Financial Group for supporting me through my training and all that stuff. And yeah, big year ahead.
Absolutely, George. A huge thank you once again for joining me on the Newsome MMA podcast, and we can't wait to see you back in action next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate. Speak soon.